Welcome back. All right, if tonight's not a reminder to me that the hockey gods they like to mess around with me, I don't know what is. Not a lot of joy or cheering in my house today, with three of the four results going away that somebody in the house wasn't all that happy with. Starting with Toronto and Boston, but I'm going to say this: if Toronto can come back and complete the comeback on Boston, I actually kind of feel good for them. Toronto, I've been watching over the last 48 hours as they've been buried by everybody online. This team has no heart. This team sucks. Tonight they did what a team that wins in the playoffs needs to do. They won while one of their best players, if not their best player overall, is out of the lineup. They showed a lot of heart and they got scoring from players they haven't been getting scoring from. So these are good signs if you're a Leafs fan. Again, no Matthews. Brazo was in for Boston. It was Wall versus Swayman. Early press by Boston. Domi fires one wide from the slot. Kampf has a rush chance that's kicked aside. Shots are 2-1 for the Leafs at 4 minutes. There's a shoulder save on Bertuzzi. The fans call one. The referee does not. And then, off of a face-off win, McCabe buries one past a screen to put Toronto ahead 1-0. Marner and Domi with the assists at 5:33. So 1-0 Toronto. Domi then has a rush chance that's defended. The Leafs look for another. Max Domi's been absolutely fantastic in this series, and it's kind of flown under the radar, but I think Domi's done really, really well, and I think he's earned his pay in the playoffs. Bruins are stuck on one shot for a while. Pasternak mishandles one on a rush. Teams trade turnovers. Geeky fires one wide on a rush. Shots are 4-1 for the Leafs at the half. Nylander has a rush chance that goes wide. The Leafs have a 2-on-1. That's defended. The Leafs press with 7.5 minutes left. Riley has a shot that's held. Carlo has a shot that's blocked as the Bruins press. Leafs weren't giving a lane to the net until there's a forecheck by Maroon that gets a puck over to Frederic, and he buries it. It's only the second shot on net for Boston, so at 13:54, Frederic from Maroon, there was no business in this game being tied. None. Boston did not deserve to be in a tie game. The Leafs press for response. They end up drawing a power play. They cycle. It's cleared. It's cleared again. Power play's killed off. One shot on net. The Leafs press after it ends. Swayman holds there, and Marner has a closing seconds chance that's blocked. It's 1-1 after one. Second period, there's an offensive zone penalty by Nylander at 28 seconds. You don't want to see that if you're a Leafs fan. Early clear, there's a shorthanded rush by Holmberg. Bruins can't set up. It gets killed off. Then there's a post for Nylander on a fast break out of the box, so you always have to watch that guy coming out of the penalty box. Leafs get a power play. There's an early clear. They set up. They cycle. Nylander has a shot that's saved. There's more cycling. Riley has a wrist shot that's caught, and that's held. Back-to-back clears end up killing that. So the Bruins then have a 4-on-2 that gets broken up. Bruins press at 6 minutes. Boquist is denied and close. The Leafs rush. Bertuzzi can't bury one with Swayman down. Leafs press at 7.5 minutes. The shots are 7-4 Toronto at 8.5 minutes. I was very impressed by how well Toronto dictated the play in Boston in Game 5 in an elimination game. DeBrusk has a net feed this block. Things are pushy as the Bruins go offside. The Leafs press with 3 minutes left. DeBrusk can't bury one. The Leafs rush. Pasternak has a rush chance that's saved. His next opportunity is held. The Leafs press in the final minute. There's some pushing and punching with 22.1 seconds left. And Steve Kazari just tells McAvoy off after that scrum. Like, I think McAvoy was trying to argue a penalty for one of the Leafs players, and he threw some swear words at him. I hope you can't read lips on that one. But at any rate, the Leafs do come out of that with a power play, so that rolls over into the third period. Game still tied at 1. Leafs set up, they cycle. Riley has a slot shot that's saved. It's cleared. Leafs cycle late. Power play's killed off. 2 shots on net for Toronto on that power play. The Bruins press, they're kept to the outside. The Leafs had the only shot on net 3.5 minutes in. And again, I thought really strong road game by Toronto. Domi controlling the face-off circle. He had won 11 out of 13 face-offs at the time I wrote that on the board there. Domi playing down the middle. Apparently that's been the secret all along. This has been figured out by Sheldon Keefe. And I have to say this too, for all of the Keefe's going to get fired. And sure, if they lost tonight, Keefe probably loses his job. But I still think he can be a good coach. I still think he has some good ideas. Putting Domi in the middle, it's a good idea. Heinen can't bury one in close. Marchand misses an open net. The Bruins press after. I didn't think Marchand had a great game. The next chance that Marchand had is blocked. The Leafs are forced to ice it because they're trying to get a whistle there. The Leafs get pinned down, but the Bruins can't take advantage of it. They're not getting enough chances at the net, and when they do, Well, that's where the saves are made by Wool. Geeky has a net feed that's picked off. The Bruins press at 7 minutes. The fans call one, the referee doesn't, and instead we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. So ref is told that he sucks because that's what you do. That's how that works. The shots were 4-2 for Boston at 8.5 minutes. Then there's a crossbar for Coyle. So that was almost, but of course crossbar means it's not a shot on net. McCabe fires one wide on a rush. Yarncroke fans on one. If I had a dime for every time that Yarncroke has had a chance that he just hasn't quite been able to get, there's been a lot of them in these playoffs. DeBrusk has a rush chance that's saved and held. Edmondson has a shot kicked aside. The Leafs press. Bruins failed to clear twice. So again, the Leafs on the road. It's game 5. They're pinning the Bruins down in their own zone in that third period. The Leafs building some momentum and playing desperate hockey. This is what you want to see from a team when they're down 3-1. Holmberg has a rush that's defended. Fredericks robbed in close as the Bruins press. Wool holds. I think that was Wool's best save of the game. Tavares has a net feed, near miss there. Leafs pressing again. Bertuzzi's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. The shots on net I thought were a little bit deceptive. They're actually 10-7 for Boston with 5 minutes left. I thought the Leafs were playing really well. Leafs press with 3.5 minutes left. Pasternak has a rush chance that's defended, and then Tavares has an opportunity that's held. We are going to overtime, which left me watching 3 games at the same time. I'm glad I won't have to do this again in the playoffs because with 3 different boards in 3 different areas of the room, it's not easy to keep up with everything that's going on. So we go to overtime. McAvoy has a shot that saved. The rebound's cleared. There's a near miss for Kampf on a 3-on-2 rush, and both teams had opportunities, but then at 2:26, Nyes scores from Tavares and Lyubushkin. That crowd went silent when that happened. He buries that one in close. We are headed back to Toronto for Game 6. So if Toronto can win Game 6 at home, and I'm going to say it, they can. They absolutely can. Why can't they? We could be back in Boston for Game 7. So there's been a lot of talk about how these playoffs have been boring. These playoffs have been predictable. And I don't think that they necessarily are. Not only that, but I do remember Boston having Toronto down in a series before, one of the previous series they played, and Toronto forcing a Game 7. And I was pretty convinced going into that Game 7 Toronto was going to win it, and then they just didn't. So at any rate, Toronto was forced to Game 6 and looked good tonight. I think the shots bear that out. In the first period, the shots were 11-2 for Toronto, and that's not misleading at all. 11-10 Toronto in the second, 12-8 Boston in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 4-3 for the Bruins, but one of those 3 shots for Toronto found the back of the net. Final shots 33-28 for Toronto. Power plays, the Leafs 0 for 3, Boston 0 for 1. I'm sure Bruins fans are going to say, oh, the refs hosed us. No. Hits 55-52 for Boston, but notice those 52 hits for Toronto. They're almost matching them hit for hit. Woll, really good start for him, 27 saves on 28 shots. We will have no doubt who's starting the next game. Swayman, 31 saves on 33 shots. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Montgomery goes to Ullmark in Game 6. I would not be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if he sticks with Swayman. We'll see what he does. But this game tonight, the Leafs deserved it. So, well, I mean, obviously as a Bruins fan, I was thinking, man, if they could pull this out, but the right team won tonight. So at any rate, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.